Okay, we are going to work with scale drawings today. All right, so scale drawings are used to represent objects that are too large or too small for life-size drawings to be useful. Okay, for example, architects use scale drawings all the time. They're designing big, giant buildings, and they use scale drawings to represent a ratio that is equivalent to real size. Okay, so the scale is pretty much the ratio. You have the drawing, and then you have the real life actual measurements. Okay, so in a ratio, you have the drawing on top, the ratio on the bottom. Okay, and when you're problem solving, okay, you want to write the scale as a ratio, and then what you want to do is you want to write the second ratio by matching up the correct information with the original ratio. And then from there, you'll be able to solve the problem. So here's one example. In this drawing, it has a scale of 1 to 10. So anything drawn with the size of 1 would have the size of 10 in the real world. So a measurement of 150 millimeters on a drawing would be 1,500 millimeters on a real horse. In another example, the distance between Philadelphia and San Francisco is 2,950 miles. You look on a map and see the scale is 1 inch to 100 miles. So what is the distance between the two cities on the map? Okay, we're trying to find the distance between two cities on the map. The first thing we do is we write the scale as a ratio. Okay, we have the drawing over the actual, which is 1 over 100. Okay, and then we don't know how many inches, so we match up the x on top with the inches because we're still looking for that. And then we put 2,950 on the bottom to match up the miles there with the 100 miles in the original ratio. We cross multiply. We have 100x equals 2,950. We do the inverse. Okay, we reverse that multiplication with 100 and x by dividing 100 on both sides. And that gives us 29.5. So there's 29.5 inches on the map. Okay, last example. On a map, the distance between your town and Washington, D.C. is 3.6 inches. The scale is 1 inch to 55 miles. What is the distance between the two cities? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to write a ratio. Okay, so we know that the scale is 1 inch to 55 miles. Okay, now I'm going to match up the inches, 3.6 on top, and then the miles we don't know because that is our question. We're trying to find the distance. Okay, so we cross multiply. We have x. You don't need to write 1x. Okay, and then we want that to equal 55 times 3.6. All right, and we get out our handy dandy calculators. That comes out to 198. So there are 198 miles between the two cities. All right, there we go. All right, so those are our scale drawings. Okay, remember it's a ratio. Okay, write the ratio first, and then you'll be able to solve the problem.